Hello, everyone, and welcome in. My name is Bryce Koon. It's another edition of the Crowded Booth, this time on a Tuesday night. It is Rivalry week. It is Thanksgiving week, and we've got the final regular season week, I guess is the best way to put it, of college football on tap. Make sure you make sure you subscribe. We're going to be talking about the best Thanksgiving side, turkey, how do you eat it, and some games, coaching hires, playoff reactions. It's an action-packed show. Like, subscribe, let's roll. Watch. Time to have fun on the show. This is the Crowded Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.
All right, welcome in. I'm bringing in the co-hosts, Will Manis and Ralph Leary, alongside myself, Bryce Koon, as we get ready to talk a little college football here on a Tuesday evening. We're rocking and rolling. As fellas, we have entered the final week of the regular season. For some, including Gavin and Will, could not have come soon enough. For others, Ralph, Troy's going to go to a bowl game. They've exceeded your expectations. It's been okay.
Yeah. Might have a
for
chance
others,
to conference championship game.
Yeah. For others, there's an opportunity to continue deep into the postseason. For Will and Gavin, they're going to play spoilers on Saturday night in Auburn. I believe we're going to talk about that game.
Not just spoilers. Auburn can go to a bowl game. Remember,
hey, they can force Kalen DeBoer to Happy Valley.
All the way back at SEC Media Days, that was the goal. Just got to make a bowl game. I'm not a fool. We got to make a bowl game.
Will's not salty. Welcome in. Like, subscribe. Let's kick tonight's show off because we got a lot to talk about. Eric Morris goes to Oklahoma State, and I think it's a fantastic hire. Will doesn't know who he is. That's okay. We'll educate him later on. Eric Morris is a great coach. No, he's a great coach. I'm going to tell you why I'm excited about that hire. We're going to talk about the playoff playoff reaction there as well. And then the host of games, and then obviously the Lane Kiffin situation and the Egg Bowl, and how does that play out here, especially with the playoffs, the coaching search. Lane Kiffin is at the center of it all. Before we get started here, go to Thanksgiving side. Says a lot about a man when he tells you what he likes at Thanksgiving. So, Will, lead it off and don't say something just absolutely asinine, please. He is. Go ahead.
I already know what he's going to say.
My favorite vegetable, macaroni and cheese.
It's an elite side. It's an elite Thanksgiving. Do you know someone told me it's not a Thanksgiving side? I was like, I'm sorry you went to that Thanksgiving.
I ate it at Thanksgiving. And look, yes, it is a vegetable. If you can go to Country Barbecue and get it on a veggie plate, it's a vegetable.
Hashtag not an ad. But
well,
yes.
that's your reasoning. I love that.
Including cinnamon apples. That is a vegetable.
Including cinnamon apples. I love it. All right, so mac and cheese. Let's continue moving along with this. Ralph, what is your go-to?
Canned Brunswick stew. Sorry.
Oh, God.
I knew neither of you were going to say that.
I was waiting for him to say it. That's what I thought you were going.
Castleberries is the best Brunswick stew you can buy at the grocery store.
Okay, in all seriousness, buy it. We'll eat it on the show and we'll rate it live. I'm coming to Columbus. I'll be in Columbus this weekend. Show me where it is.
Right now. 10 out of 10.
10. Oh, wow. 10 out of 10. All right, Ralph, go to Thanksgiving side. What you got?
Sweet potato souffle.
I'm with you. It's a side. Now, a lot of people want to say it's a dessert, but here's the thing. What do you put on top of it?
We've always done the pecans, topping. We don't do the marshmallows. That's never been a thing in my family.
You ever done the cornflakes or whatever, the cereal thing? I know you didn't like that. I'm not a big fan of the marshmallows on it, but I'm not a big marshmallow guy.
I like marshmallows, but I don't like marshmallows on top of my sweet potato souffle. I just kind of like I actually just like the sweet potato souffle. I don't care about the topping as much.
Sweet potato slaps in general.
Yeah.
It's an amazing vegetable. Guys, I'm gonna rock and roll with you here. So I am a big fan of both the things that you listed. Those are great ones. So I don't want to repeat it. So I'm gonna dive into this next one. Buddy, I'll destroy some green bean casserole. I am a big green bean casserole fan. Now, listen, I've been to some Thanksgivings in my years where some of this food has been done completely incorrectly. It's been an abomination. But so green bean casserole done right is a very, very. I've had it like with the little the French onion onions out there,
Yep.
French onion straws or whatever. Those are elite. I think it's a good side.
I've grown to like green bean casserole. French onions and the cream of mushroom I used to not be a fan. That's how it's made in my family. I don't know if that's how everybody.
No. It is. I mean, when you think about a can of cream of mushroom, you want to vomit. There's no doubt about it. But then when you eat it in dishes, it's like, oh, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So
we never really had green bean casserole growing up for Thanksgiving. We just always just had green beans by itself.
Yeah. About an hour and a half ago, I was at player interviews and asked each of the players we talked to what was their go-to. Whitwick said green beans in any form or fashion. It is an elite vegetable, and it's very utilized. So I think that is, I think it's good. What are our thoughts on cranberry sauce? We got to get that out of the way.
You eat it only during Thanksgiving. That's the only time you ever get it, and it's only better if it's canned.
Oh God, so you like the canned cranberry sauce?
We buy the canned one every year. Oh, it's like just a jellied cranberry that just slides out the can, still the same size.
Not a fan.
I will say this though, my mom's sister does a great cranberry crunch kind of situation. I don't know what goes in it, but it's very good. I don't know if we'll have it this year, but it's pretty good around that.
Cranberry crunch.
Yeah, so it's it's like normal cranberry sauce. And it's got I wish I could just.
Is it a dessert?
No, it's like a topping. You would put it on something.
Oh. I was gonna say, like, we're getting into like the pie category of what I can eat that. Like, I eat that. Will, cranberry sauce. It's repulsive to me in any form.
Not a fan.
Any form. Now here's where we're gonna get interesting here.
Oh.
I'm gonna go ahead and give my take. 3 years ago, my wife and I have been married for 3 years now. And obviously we've been in Baton Rouge for 2 years. We are not going back for Thanksgiving this weekend. This week, actually, we're staying here. Her parents coming in town, and then I'm flying, obviously, for clean old fashioned hate this weekend. So, I just need to get this out here. If it was up to me, I would ban Thanksgiving food entirely.
I'm not surprised that someone in here agree with you. I'm not surprised by that at all.
This is my point, though. Now, this is just from my own experience, okay? Thanksgiving food melts into Christmas food. Sometimes you switch out the turkey for the ham. You know what I mean? But a lot of the big things, if you do like the fancy Christmas dinner, it's the same thing.
No,
dude, but I'm tired of eating that stuff.
No.
So
no.
Let me preface with this, because are you ready for this? I hate turkey. Cannot stand it.
You haven't had it right.
And I will give you that, because I come from a Anglo-Saxon white family that does not understand necessarily at times how to season food, and we throw that thing in the oven and it comes out like the Griswolds. So that to me is what mine has tasted like. Now, Ralph has repeatedly said in the past couple of years they've gotten into obviously frying the turkey, put it on the Traeger, something like that, put it in the smoker. That's different. I think turkey is a dry bird anyways, which I have come to understand. It is probably more of a dry bird than like your chicken or something like that.
Yes.
Maybe it's just me, but I do understand that I need to have it a different way. But if you told me, Bryce, you could have a 14-ounce sirloin with a baked potato, some asparagus, and a good salad, I'd eat that. And a good dinner roll, that I would eat that for Thanksgiving.
This is still a free country. You're more than welcome to do that.
I am. It's more of, I understand and I concede the fact that I've probably eaten it not in a great way, but the ways I've had it, it has been one of the worst things I've ever put in my mouth.
I used to feel the same way about turkey, and then my family started smoking turkey on a big green egg.
Okay.
Game changer.
Slice it up, smoke it on a big green egg. Oh my gosh.
Well, then I might enjoy that. I might really enjoy that.
We did it last year for the first time. We got the pellet smoker out, and my dad smoked a smaller one, just to kind of have for leftovers.
A small hen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was very good. We also air fry turkey every year, also. So
air fry turkey.
Yeah, it's one of those big big fryers, but it's just an air fryer. It's just one of those big ones.
Interesting.
I have a picture of it somewhere on my phone. If I can get it to you, I'll find it.
I think I need to have it a different way, but I do like ham. I'm a ham guy. Like you give me
Big ham at Christmas.
ham at Christmas. Yeah, that's good. Now, and Zach here says this, and this is obviously what I've done in the past. We're big like Christmas breakfast people. Like that's what my parents would do growing up. It's like we'd wake up, you know, that was something we just did every single Christmas day or whatever. Grandparents come over, vice versa, you know, whatever. That's what we did. I did used to have a family Christmas where we had people where I don't know where you're going. You don't know where I'm going with this.
You paused a little bit there. I used to have a family Christmas. Oh, okay.
I used to have a family Christmas that I used to attend, and we don't do that anymore with these people. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I'm not going to air that to the public. Those people, and it was kind of a potluck thing. So I don't know if you're ready for this. It's a shame we don't have the viewers we had last week in this to be able to hear what I'm about to say, because this
that would be great.
would have been unreal. So between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we always had like this get together. And it was a lot of extended family, right? And so there were just dishes that you just ate, and it was like a finger food type thing. So, you know, you had like pigs in a blanket. I love I'll eat those, whatever. You'd have like the little barbecue meatballs or the barbecue weenies, you know, whatever you want to eat. You might have some Rotel dip, you know, stuff like that. And those are all normal things. We all can agree, like it's normal game day tailgate type of food. Well, there was an uncle who always brought taquitos, and I thought they were just unreal. And I thought that they were homemade. Nope, this was the freezer section taquitos that he would throw in the oven, and we'd eat them. And I thought they were the greatest thing ever. I only ate them that time of the year until I think I got to college and realized, like, this is the freezer section at Walmart that this man just pulled taquitos out of and ate them. So they were from Quick Trip for sure. That's amazing.
There you go. This is our air fryer we use for turkey every year.
I mean, I was thinking of the air fryer that I have at my house. So that does lend us.
It's a lot bigger.
Yeah, it does lend some things there. So that's our Thanksgiving conversation. Turkey, smoked, fried, go about it. I don't need it. But it is what it is. Anything that's just bad Thanksgiving food other than cranberry sauce, Will?
No, not for me. I like Thanksgiving food.
Ralph?
I'm trying to remember if anything like was bad, because for years my grandmother cooked, so nothing was ever bad with her. But I'm trying to think if we've ever had anything just really bad. We used to have fried chicken for a few years. That was fun.
We did that for New Year's.
I don't think I've ever had family like New Year's besides my mom.
I didn't until I started dating Hillary, and they did like the black eyed peas thing, you know, like whatever it is, and the collard greens, and that was good.
We do that but my mom does that. She does.
My in-laws do the same thing. I don't participate.
They eat bagels.
They do eat bagels. I do not participate.
Oh my gosh!
See, Joey, this is what we knew. We didn't want to get in a plane with you. Sweet potatoes, you said they're garbage. I can't be flying around with that. All right, let's lock it in. Before we get started tonight, let's talk about our friends over at Section 103. We got to pay some bills. LSU and Georgia Tech fans, Kennesaw State, Georgia Southern fans. Two of these teams could be, at least one of them is obviously looking for a new head coach in LSU. Georgia Southern could be. I don't know if they're going to fire Clay Helton or not. But Kennesaw State's having a great season, one of the more productive teams in the Group of Five this year. And Georgia Tech is as well, despite the loss last weekend in Atlanta. Make sure you get your gear. They've got fantastic gear right around the holidays. Up until Black Friday, you can use that code Black Friday and get 20% off of your order. Make sure you take advantage of that. Beyond that, use code TCB 10 for 10% off your order there today. All right, Section 103 does a great job presenting sponsor for our tech shows all year long, and also right here on our college football content as well. Yeah.
I've never heard of this.
I've never heard of that, Stan, and I'm concerned. But Stan came after you, by the way, on the show the other night, Will, so I would be personally offended. Okay, let's lock it in. Let's talk a little bit about this if you're ready, because I certainly am ready. Let's start off with Eric Morris to Oklahoma State. What does this mean? Who is Eric Morris? And I'm just going to go ahead and start off here. If I'm an Oklahoma State fan, I'm fired up about this. Yeah. You've gone, 21 years with Mike Gundy, who did phenomenal things, was the model of consistency there in Stillwater within the Big 12. You could also argue had more conference title success than a team like Texas, who didn't go to the conference title all that much, the Big 12, battled Oklahoma year in, year out. But when we talk about Eric Morris and people kind of pop off the page, and I wish I'd have had him on to talk about it because it's my man Matthew Bruni that I work with, big North Texas guy. Eric Morris is a Texas coach. Like, this is the bread and butter that he grew up on. This is what he's about. The biggest win for this is you've got the ultimate quarterback developer. Now, if you go back to when he was at Texas Tech under Cliff Kingsbury, he's a Mike Leach, Cliff Kingsbury type of disciple. I think he brings instant offensive identity to what Oklahoma State wants to do. I think when the Cowboys go into the portal, if you're a prospective player that's looking at them, with a new head coach, you often wonder, what is our identity going to be? There's not going to be a question when Eric Morris sits you down and talks about where we think you can fit in this scheme. You know what it's going to look like. Doesn't mean instant success, but it gives you that instant identity. So I think that in terms of what he brings, look, you can go to the fact that most recently, obviously, Mr. Mestamaker, does he follow him to Stillwater? That would be a really, really big win if Oklahoma State can get that. But his relationship with Patrick Mahomes and how Mahomes lauds him as one of the guys that really helped develop him. This is a guy who every single level has done a great job. Oh, and there's this guy named Cam Ward that he found when he was at Incarnate Word. Goes obviously to Washington State to be the OC there and turns Cam Ward into a complete unknown as a prospect into the number 1 overall pick in Heisman Trophy. So I think for a program like Oklahoma State, I love this move. It's a rejuvenation. I think the fan base and donor base can get behind this. He's a rising candidate. It's the kind of guy you take a chance on in the Big 12, and I'm excited to see what he can build there. And I think it gives them it just gives them a lot of proof, even though it hasn't happened in Stillwater, with what he does. Now, defensively, you got to figure things out because they've been abysmal and they've got 1 loss. And hey, he's going to coach the potential playoff if they get there, which is an interesting topic to talk about. So that's my take on Eric Morris. I like the hire. I wrote about him as a complete dark horse candidate for some of these SEC jobs. Frankly, I thought Arkansas should have kicked the tires a little bit more on this one. But we'll go to you first. I mean, I know you had mentioned it wasn't likely, but if you could have talked him into being the OC at Auburn, you would have loved that. But obviously, he gets a head coaching job at the Power 4 level. And, well, your thoughts on it?
I have one question, and it is very important because it could potentially change my entire opinion on him. Was he coaching at Incarnate Word and recruited Zach Calzada to transfer to Incarnate Word?
Calzada was there the past 2 years before this.
He was there to 21.
Who was? Calzada or
Eric Morris? Sorry, Eric Morris was there until 21.
I don't know when.
Calzada followed Ward, I believe. Like it was like Cam Ward and Calzada went over there.
Okay, yeah, very important question because
to answer your question, Calzada was at Incarnate Word from 2023 to 2024.
Okay, so no.
Yeah. So no, he was not.
Okay, good for Eric Morris.
Great question though. Great question.
I can talk good about him. Yeah, great offensive mind. Everybody's seen what he's done with North Texas this year, putting them on the map. Probably the most successful season in their program history, at least at this level, at the FBS level. This is a great hire for Oklahoma State for a number of reasons. The biggest one being it brings life, it brings energy to the program, a program that has honestly been probably dead or on life support since the COVID year. Things really changed for Oklahoma State in a bad way after the COVID year. Of course, losing your biggest donor will do that. T. Boone Pickens, his passing coincides with Oklahoma State football going down. But as with any coach in college football, now you have to ask what's the NIL support going to be, right? And I think Eric Morris a hot enough name that Oklahoma State convinced him that, like, hey, you're going to have plenty of support to do what you need to do. And I think he's the type of guy that would have waited out for a job where that commitment would be promised. But yeah, big for him, big for Oklahoma State. I like it a lot. Just it makes Oklahoma State watchable in 2026 and going forward, because I think the last 2 years they've been unwatchable.
Yeah, no, like I said, instant offensive identity. Ralph, anything to follow up on that? Just he's done a great job at North Texas, completely revitalized that program, and I think it's been, there's a reason that they've got a shot to make the college football playoff this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've been big on Jeff Traylor for this job for the longest time. I always said that Jeff Traylor from UTSA was going to take this job, but his name was thrown out there as soon as Gundy was fired, and Eric Moore's kind of slid in there. I guess this week was really the first time we heard his name attached to this job, and it's a great hire. I think it's one of the best hires we've seen. For a G5 to a Power 4 guy in a while. I feel like this is a guy where he's going to go to a school where they're going to give him time to build this program back up. They've seen some really bad years, and this is the guy who can develop a quarterback. He's got one. Drew Messemaker's got one of the coolest stories. I mean, the kid didn't play football, or he didn't start playing quarterback until his senior year of high school. And he played 1 year, had one really good offer, and it was North Texas, and they believed in him. Didn't see the field much last year as a backup to Chandler Morris. Chandler Morris is the portal. He plays in the bowl game, and the kid balls out. And that's what he's done all year. He's just slinging it. But yeah, if he's able to bring Eric or Messemaker to Oklahoma State, you not just got a great hire, you got a great hire and a good quarterback for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's what they're going to push for the Messemaker hard now. They got his coach, he's got his developer. Go get the kid for him now, and look, this team could be really fun to watch next year. And like you said, you literally just said it. It could be watchable football for them. And that's something they can be happy about for once. They hadn't had a really a winnable season and a fun year for them in a while. So they need something to kind of bounce back on.
I think one of the biggest things, and I wrote about this a week ago with Eric Morris, is that he has won everywhere he has been. And that's a calling card too. I mean, he reached multiple FCS playoffs with Incarnate Word. And then obviously, with what they didn't win big, but he won big personally with what he was able to do with Cam Ward and then transferring that skill set. Like, for people who, in my opinion, worry about how does it transfer, well, hey, he took his FCS quarterback and his system, albeit it was the Pac-12, and went over there and, had tremendous success. And then Cam Ward goes to it. So it shows you from a coaching perspective, what he's saying, what he's teaching, what he's doing, it transfers to the highest level. And I think that's the biggest thing too. His talent evaluation is very good. Ralph, you mentioned Messemaker. I don't think enough people are talking about Caleb Hawkins, their running back, who is very, very good. There's an opportunity here. And I hate this for North Texas, right? But I think North Texas now becomes an enviable job as well, because now you can go there and you can make the jump. I raise you a Buster Faulkner. You can do that. So it's one of those things where if you do well at a place like North Texas, now you become that launching pad program where you can have a good run. But in terms of what Oklahoma State could benefit from this, and you guys both mentioned this, I think the biggest thing, and we'll end it here and move on because we've got a lot to talk about, but Morris can bring a lot over from Denton. That's the biggest thing. And that, everyone's going to try to copy what Cignetti did at Indiana. And that's going to be a hard thing to do, just in terms, it was the perfect storm, and Cignetti's a great coach. But I do think having the continuity from place to place helps you assimilate yourself into a new place. And I think that's the biggest thing that Morris can do. And all the cons, like his experience factor, that was something I listed. If he would have made the jump to the SEC, I was worried about. I'm not worried about that in the Big 12 because I don't think that the competition necessarily is as elite, and I think there's a bigger margin of error for him to get this program started.
You talked about Caleb Hawkins, not just only him, but Wyatt Young, the leading receiver, the guy who's almost had 300 yards receiving the other night. He's only a sophomore. Bring in Messemaker's number one receiver and his running back. I mean, you're talking about a dangerous, offense starting off next year. If you can bring in his three best offensive players, it's a great start. Terrific.
It's a great start. Add in the final part, he's got the recruiting base in Texas already, so your local ties. I mean, I know Stillwater's not Texas, but Oklahoma doesn't have a ton of high school talent. You can recruit Dallas and do well, and 14 teams can recruit Dallas.
You know, it's called Bixby High School in Oklahoma.
Bixby, they've had a couple kids.
That's like one of the best schools I think in the state. If I'm correct about that one. But
Auburn Tiger Broderick Schull from Bixby High School.
Bixby High School.
There you go.
You mentioned Buster Faulkner. Rumors are he is not yet going to be a head coach. Still remains to be seen. Looks like he's not going to be making that jump in 2026.
I did see that they had oh god, I was scrolling my phone when I got home and I was looking at who they had mentioned with the job, and it just literally blew my head now. Oh my god.
What job are you talking about? The Auburn OC job?
The North Texas job.
Who's talking about the Auburn OC job?
I'm sorry. Apologies. Sorry.
I can't
Didn't mean
believe
to get into that.
In my head. It just blew my mind. I just had it on there and everything. Okay, please
anyways,
move on.
We'll move on. Real quick, let's talk about our friends over at MacArthur Woodworks. They do a fantastic job, and they've got a special running right now that I want to make sure that you're paying attention to with everything. So as well. So look, MacArthur Woodworks is a handcrafted wood piece from furniture, from bookshelves to whatever it might be. They do a fantastic job, and it gives a gift that has a little character behind it into your home. We've got a great piece. Like I've mentioned multiple times, we've had people over. We've gone to different events. Charcuterie board. You can use it as a board, any type of board you want it for. It's custom made to what you want. And that's the biggest thing there. My friend Michael over there, he wanted me to let you know this. And I think it's a great opportunity for you to take advantage, especially as we really ramp up Black Friday holiday shopping here as well. The last chance to get your custom order in, and this is what he wanted me to tell you, is that the super custom boards, the deadline's December 15th. So you've got a little over 2 weeks to get there, to get that in so that it can get to you before Christmas. So if you want to get that holiday gift, make sure you do it. Like I've said multiple times, we've had some people compliment it already. It is a piece that you're going to want to display, utilize, not something that you're going to want to sit there in the back of the closet, the back of the cupboard, or wherever it might be. We all know those gifts. They don't take a lot of thought. This will not be that gift. They do a fantastic job, and we're appreciative of them all year long. MacArthur Woodworks, Georgia Tech grad, make sure you take advantage. And for some people, they are, for some people, it's a weapon. So that's what we've also learned. All right, here we go. Couple of, let's go rankings first. Rankings reaction, then we'll go games. Okay. This committee makes no sense. Hunter Yurachek is a borderline. Maybe that's the reason they couldn't hire Eric Morris. Hunter Yurachek is borderline just a. Oh God. It's malpractice, what they're out there saying. So here's the college football playoff rankings for the people listening. If you don't know already, we'll go through it real quick, or I will. Your top 10, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama. Behind them, really the next couple teams out is BYU, Miami at 12, Utah 13, Vanderbilt 14, Michigan 15. I would say as of this moment, there's truly only 15 teams that have a shot at this thing, so I'm not going past that. Of note is that you have a host of ACC teams in there. You also have Arizona State that jumped up 5 spots from 25 to 20, and Tulane is still the highest-rated G5 team in there. Texas is at 16. So I want to start with this because there's obviously people, and we talked about this last week, Will, Notre Dame, Miami, right? That conversation. Well, it is obvious that they don't value what happened early in the season at all. Like they don't care. It doesn't matter. I want to talk about this, and I know where Will's going to go with this, right? Because Will wants to see the eagle fly good, and that's really what deep down Will needs to see to be happy in life.
Correct.
I don't understand, and I'm asking this. I'm not making a definitive statement. I don't understand the argument of Notre Dame over Alabama. That's what I'm trying to look at and understand. And I've just seen some posts about it, comparing some different analytics. And so I'm asking you guys, like, why do you think Alabama's over Notre Dame or Alabama's behind Notre Dame? Because I don't know, and I haven't done enough research to really look at it, but it's just intriguing to me because you would think and feel that Alabama's got better wins. Notre Dame obviously has the win over USC, the dominant win over Pitt. Is that match up well with what Alabama has done? I mean, Alabama arguably has one of the best wins in the country. And I know they got the 2 losses and the bad loss to Florida State. So does that just equal each other out? Will, I'll let you go first.
Well, yeah, they've got worse losses than Notre Dame, but my big question is why is Alabama over BYU? BYU's 11-1. BYU's taking care of business. Alabama has faltered twice in games they should have won, especially against Florida State, and they were favored against Oklahoma at home. But, you know, and I texted some other friends this because they had the same questions. I said, well, it's because they're called Alabama and BYU's called BYU. That's the only reason. I watched a little bit of the show, and they threw up Miami and Notre Dame's resumes. everybody knows I hate the college football playoff, and their arguments to justify their rankings they make it even worse. They use FPI as a metric. Who makes FPI? Who came up with FPI? ESPN. Who is the only network that's allowed to broadcast and talk about the playoff? ESPN. ESPN owns this whole thing. It's a joke. It's a farce. It is the worst playoff system in American sports. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And I say it every week. We need to scrap the whole thing because we get this committee that is the most biased group, and that's the only way it's going to be when you just have a group of people. You're going to have bias. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's bias. They write resumes for every school. They say, well, you look at their resume, and it's like, you're the one that wrote their resume. Like, this is going to come off as hate. I know it's going to, but what I'm saying makes sense. Georgia Tech, the way they played against Pitt, they did not play like a top 25 team for
It's fair, yeah.
at least the first two quarters. But they are ranked. So if Georgia wins on Friday, that puts another ranked win on Georgia's resume, and they can justify keeping Georgia in the top 4 instead of probably Big 12, what right now, likely Big 12 champion Texas Tech, while Georgia misses the SEC championship. That will be a feather in Georgia's cap. Oh, look, they had a ranked win against Georgia Tech, so they're better than Texas Tech, who won their conference. It's a joke. The bias across this whole thing is ridiculous. And to finish my rant, this whole Ole Miss Lane Kiffin thing is ridiculous. And now the committee is inserting themselves into it. I know Oregon beat USC, but so it makes sense that they jumped them. But this sets them up to drop Ole Miss further, and Ole Miss does not host in the first round of the playoff when they have earned the right to host if Lane Kiffin's not there. And I think I said it last week. I may have said it 2 weeks ago. If Lane Kiffin's not there, Ole Miss might miss the playoff altogether. They'll take Ole Miss out completely because their head coach is gone, which is a joke because that team, those players have earned the right to play in the playoff.
Well, and I'll just add this too. If Lane Kiffin leaves, nobody else is leaving immediately with him. Joe Judge would be the interim head coach. You'd still have both coordinators and Charlie Weiss Jr. And then obviously the defensive coordinator, his name's
Pete Golding.
Pete Golding. So I'm not saying Lane Kiffin wouldn't matter. He has an effect on the game, obviously, but what you want to do and what you're trying to do would stand. I think I'll just say this. Your argument about the Georgia, what's going to be very interesting here is what happens to Texas A&M, right? Like what happens to the Aggies if they drop the conference title game against Alabama? What happens there? Like if Alabama wins that game
altogether,
do they drop out of the top 4 because they lost a conference title game? Like how do you justify that? How do you make that thing work? Because if Georgia doesn't go, and this is what I was having a conversation with my dad. He was in town. And he's a Georgia fan. He's like, I don't want him to go. Like, if you're Ole Miss in Georgia, you do not want to qualify for the conference title game.
No, you're sitting perfect. You are.
Yeah, because you're sitting perfect. You win this. I mean, for Ole Miss, Ole Miss is not perfect in any situation where they are. But in terms of like the record and on the page, Ole Miss's loss is a close loss to Georgia, right? Okay. Georgia's only loss is a
close loss
at home against Alabama. If Alabama beats Texas A&M, and is a 2-loss SEC champion, do they vault all the way up into the top 4? Or does a team that didn't even play in their conference title game, Georgia, move up to 3? You insert Texas Tech at 4, but you drop A&M out for being perfect all year, having a perfect season, but you punish them because they've had to play an extra game that they earned the right to play in. That, to me, will determine a lot of the course of the future of conference championship games and how we view them. We saw, obviously, last year they did not do that with SMU. They're not going to drop A&M, Georgia, or Bama out in this scenario. Bama wins the SEC, they're in. I just wonder what it would look like, and I guess that's my one big question looking at this. I got some thoughts on Miami, but Ralph, I'll let you go.
I mean, y'all both kind of hit it really hard on this, but Texas Tech right now, obviously being the Big 12 favorite to win the championship. I don't know who they'd play in the conference championship.
It'll probably be BYU. If BYU wins this week, it's going to be a rematch.
So they beat them pretty handily the last
29-7. Yeah.
It was so BYU. I could see if A&M loses to Alabama, like you said, I would put Texas Tech at 3. I'd move them up to 3 as a conference champion, and I'd leave Georgia right at 4. I would not move Georgia. They don't deserve to get dropped. They don't deserve to be moved up. I agree with what Will said, though. With keeping Georgia Tech in there for a ranked win for Georgia. I don't disagree because that's the thing. They've done it in the past. But also dropping Ole Miss. We saw it a few years ago when the team didn't have their quarterback. They dropped them out of the playoffs completely in Florida State. And then the downfall happened with them. If you're Ole Miss, if Lane Kiffin leaves for LSU or at Florida or whoever next weekend, whatever it is, if they drop them out completely, Ole Miss better be up and ready to fight the entire conference playoff, the college football playoff committee, because that would be an outrage to drop them at least out of hosting a playoff game. Because I don't think Oregon's a better team than Ole Miss right now. Not on a neutral site, I think Ole Miss takes Oregon any day of the week.
Well,
right now,
if Alabama wins the SEC, Ole Miss will not host because Bama will jump Ole Miss.
Right. That's fine. I'm talking about like we're looking at right now. And this is how they have it. They dropped Ole Miss a spot because they didn't play anybody last week, and Oregon beat at the time ranked USC, who really isn't that spectacular this year. They're good, but they're not a top 25 team in my opinion. But they're going to keep moving these teams up that don't have any straight schedule wins in my opinion. Oregon has one ranked win this year, and that was USC I guess last week. Is that correct?
I believe so, but I'd have to go back and look. But yeah,
these teams don't play anybody all year long. And you got Dan Lanning over here saying that we're not playing cupcake teams. Second to last week of the season like the SEC is, but they play Purdue and Northwestern and Minnesota and Wisconsin every week of the season, and they don't play anybody. So when Oregon sits there at 6 and jumps Ole Miss, like that irritates me because Ole Miss is a one-loss team to Georgia on the road. They shouldn't be dropped because they didn't play anybody last week.
I think it's going to be interesting too to look at this conversation. How does Miami fit in all of this? And obviously the conversations. I mean, Hunter Yurachek did 6-7 on the broadcast today. I mean, that's just unbelievable that he did that. He's completely out of his element in terms of what he's doing. If this thing comes down, because you do have a host of teams from what we say 8 to 15 that are going to be 2 losses. Now, Bama, I wouldn't throw them in there because they could, if they win if they get 3 losses, to me, they're out. If they get to 2, if they stay at 2, that means they've won the SEC. But you have a host of 2-loss teams, and you'd be sitting there with Oklahoma, Notre Dame, BYU, Miami, Utah, and Vandy in Michigan. Now, in this scenario, I think BYU is out because they've had 2 times the opportunity to beat Texas Tech, and they would have not done that. That would rule them out. Utah got beat by BYU. I have not truthfully looked at Utah's schedule. Outside of that, I can't tell you what they've done. Michigan is a little too far on the outside for me, so then it becomes truthfully like a Vanderbilt, Miami, Notre Dame question. If we get to a scenario where they're just not going to care about the Notre Dame Miami, it's not even the fact of getting somebody in. If somehow Miami is able to move up where you get a different opponent, like you get outside of the back-to-back game, that is going to be asinine if they rank Notre Dame over Miami, causing Miami to have a harder path. Miami's going to sit there and look, yeah, hey, we lost to SMU on the road. We lost another game, obviously, there too, but we beat them. Like, we have the head that has to hold some type of value in this argument. If it doesn't, and we said this last year, if it doesn't, what is the point of scheduling these games and playing the risk? Because now you've told me even when I win the games, it doesn't matter. Even when you win the game, it doesn't matter. So to put a bookend on this, the playoff committee is, to me, this is worse than last year. I really don't understand any of the logic or the roundabout nature of what they're telling us. I do not know. It does not make sense to me in terms of head-to-head, what they really value. And coaches have been saying that for a very long time, and people laugh about it and say, oh, you're just mad because your conference doesn't get in. I hope this can unite the entire college football fan base, regardless of conference affiliation or anything, and say, this isn't good enough. Like, what these people are going on national television and telling us, it isn't good enough.
So the argument, I'll just go ahead and the argument about Notre Dame and Miami on the show, which is, is just a big propaganda. Oh, look how great the committee did. That's all that's for. Joey Galloway making the argument that right now Notre Dame is a better team than Miami, which, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you want to talk about schedules. I think Miami's played a harder schedule than Notre Dame has to this point. Playing in that ACC schedule. But I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. I think head-to-head has to matter. I mean, college football has always been a regular season sport. And the more weeks spend the playoff, the more nonsense like this happens. The shows the regular season doesn't mean as much. I mean, we only get 12 of these games a year. And I think they should all mean something, and they should all equal the same. They should all carry the same weight. When you stack them up alongside each other. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you could make that argument. I think Notre Dame is much improved from then. You got to remember CJ Carr's first start on the road. Tough game for him, and he's certainly improved. But I don't know. It's got to mean something.
On the Ole Miss situation, Gavin, was this Yurachek that said this in terms of this? So he obviously made this statement. We'll take care of that when it happens, talking about Lane Kiffin leaving. We don't look ahead. The loss of a player, the loss of a key coach is in the principle of how we rank teams. But again, we don't have a data point for Ole Miss without their head coach. I don't think you're going to get one this week either. Okay, let's talk actual games, because that's 40 minutes worth of Thanksgiving food and a lot of other things. So let's talk games here. Let's start with the first game that we have in terms of the scheduling wise. Let's go over to Atlanta. Will and I are going to be inside the building. Will, they sent the parking, so we are good to go, baby. Georgia and Georgia Tech. This game has obviously lost a little bit of its luster after last weekend. This was an opportunity for both teams really to be what it feels like. I mean, this is the best Georgia Tech has been in years, in over a decade. And Georgia really heating up and getting back to playing their brand of football. Now you've got a game inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium where, Will, you can maybe speak to this more. The expectation is that it is going to be more than half Georgia fans, at least, in the red and black. Tech fans, I'm sure, will show out. Or go ahead. You can answer that real quick.
Just real quick. I'll be shocked if it's 50-50. Shocked.
I agree with that.
So Georgia enters this game as a 13.5-point favorite from our friends over at FanDuel. I'm just going to keep it real with you, and I'm really deep diving in this game, and it's going to be out there tomorrow as you get ready for your Thanksgiving weekend. Look, we've talked about both of these teams a lot this year. Here's a lot of numbers for you. If you're listening to the podcast, head over to YouTube. You can look at that. Georgia Tech's defense is not good. They are not good, and they did play better in that second half. The issue for that is, if you wait to the second half to make adjustments, you're facing arguably the best second half adjustment team in the country. So Georgia's not going to come back out and just do what they did in the first half. They're going to mix it up even if they're having success against you. So that in this frame of this game right here, Georgia's a 13.5-point favorite. I want to speak to Georgia Tech's offense. A lot of stuff's being thrown out there in social media about the quality of defense being played. Guys, I've got an entire sheet dedicated to what, when we talk about the Heisman conversation. Georgia Tech's offense has not played a really great defense. They haven't played a really great defense this year. So the question becomes here, when you talk about Georgia's defense and you talk about what they're going to be able to do, can Georgia Tech match them, and can they force some type of chaos? That is what this game comes entirely down to. I think Georgia Tech has to force some type of chaos. It's got to get super ugly. They've got to muddy the game. They've got to play this game in the trenches. They've got to win the turnover battle. And not only that, they have to do something defensively they've not done against a good offensive opponent this year. They haven't done in the month of November, to be honest with you. They've got to get consistent stops. So that, to me, in this game is where I think it's going to be interesting. Yes, you can sit here and tell me it's a rivalry game. I think that's something Georgia Tech has going for them. I think they're going to be up to play this game. I'm just telling you, over the past 4 weeks, what we have seen out of this defense, I think that could negate the whole passion and the emotions. I think once the adrenaline wears off here, it could get really, I don't want to say ugly, but it could get out of hand. So I'm taking Georgia to win this one. I'll go more in depth, but It just worries me after watching what Georgia Tech's defense has been unable to do the past 3 games. That's a concerning thing because this is the best opponent that you've played all year. They're very balanced. Will, you mentioned this last night. Georgia's very balanced. They can do a lot of things to you, and they're really starting to get back to their brand of football. So we'll go back to Will on this one. We talked a little bit about this last night, Will, but just maybe your thoughts.
Ralph, I'll give it to you first because I'm looking for a stat here, so you can.
So go ahead, Ralph.
Yeah. Look, I'm really looking to kind of see Georgia bring everything back down together. You know, they, like you said, Bryce, they're getting back to their brand of football. I want to see this. I don't want to say this is like a cleanup game, but you know, you have a chance to really go out there and perform at your best level here. You know, it's a neutral site. You know, you've played here a few times now. You know this. You know the stadium in and out. You know this team in and out. It's the same team. You know. The same offense they ran last year, you know, with Haynes getting quarterback. You've seen him now. You know what he's like. You know, you're not going to sleep on this team like you did last year for the first 3 quarters, I guess. I would like to see Gunnar Stockton go out there and play his best performance, you know, a clean, crisp game where he's just kind of go out there and controls the offense, you know, mobile back there, making the good throws, getting the ball to Zachariah Branch, who's going to be explosive, obviously, the entire game. You know, and CJ Allen just running this defense and, you know, and creating havoc in this backfield. You know, Georgia's not a great pass rush team. They don't really have an elite pass rusher like they've had in the past. You know, they really want to get after the quarterback. They got to find ways to throw some blitzes in there with CJ Allen, you know, bring guys off the edge. You know, it's going to be something they got to do defensively differently they've done all year. But this is the game they can really kind of change that because they hadn't really had it like that pass rush all year. This is where I want to see them kind of get after Haynes King, get after this entire offense in the backfield, and, you know, just create havoc, because if you start messing up their entire flow and you're back there in the backfield and you mess up a motion, you're messing up someone, you know, trying to pick up a block from a linebacker, you mess everything up with that. So, you know, I'd love to see that out of Georgia. I know Glenn Schumann's got great, you know, game plan prepared. Kirby obviously does too. And look, Bryce said it a minute ago, this is the best second half adjustment team in the country with the best coach in the country when it comes to second half adjustments. If Georgia's struggling in the first half offensively or defensively, they're going to make the changes at halftime to help them win this game. And I'm with Bryce. I got Georgia winning this game. I think they cover pretty easily.
One note on that. If CJ Allen cannot go, Kirby Smart did say this week he's working his tail off the best he can to be available when he can. If he cannot go, the scary part about this, their linebacker room is ridiculous. They obviously have Raylan Wilson on the other side, Justin Williams, Chris Cole. They got the young guy, Zayden Walker, who's a really good football player. Like, they're loaded, and they haven't really dropped off, especially in that game they played a couple weeks ago against Texas when C.J. Allen went out. So, obviously, no SEC injury report to look at or ACC injury report to look at for respective teams this week. You can only go off the updates of what the coaches said. But even if C.J. Allen cannot go, linebacker to them, they are elite at that spot with the way they recruit and develop. So, Will, your thoughts on this one?
So I'll go ahead and say it. The stat I was looking for would not apply to this. It was Georgia's record against the spread. With big spreads, 35-plus point spreads. I couldn't remember what the number was.
11-1, right, under Kirby?
I think it's now 0-16, 35 or more.
0-16, good God. The fact that he's had 16 games with that point spread is also impressive, but yeah.
Yeah, that was my best bet against Charlotte, plus 44.5. Georgia scored, 38? Yeah. It's free money, folks. So everything that the two of you just said, I agree with 100%. Logical, makes sense. Looking at the numbers, everybody knows where I get my advanced numbers from, cfbgraphs.com. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I understand them all, but a lot of them make sense. This is a terrible matchup for Georgia Tech, I think, on both sides of the ball. Even though this is a Georgia offense that hasn't run the ball as well as we've seen in the past, but it's like you said, Bryce, this Georgia Tech defense just is not good. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, we've seen 11 games. That's what Georgia Tech is defensively.
Yeah.
It's not good. You see it there on the screen if you're watching. 100th in defensive success rate, 106th in the country in total defense. Not good. All that being said, this is a rivalry game. This game means the most on the schedule to any game to Brent Key. He is going to have this team fired up, ready to go. This team's going to have a bad taste in their mouth from that Pitt game. I think that this game makes it to the fourth quarter. I do, being a close game. I am going to I'm going to pick Georgia to win, obviously, but I'm going to pick Georgia Tech to cover the 13.5-point spread. I think Georgia Tech they're good enough on offense. They know what they know who they are on offense, and they can do enough of a job to shorten this game, keep them in this game. But Georgia in the second half is going to prove to be too much. And not that Georgia necessarily plays with their food, so to say, but they know what it takes to win games.
Mm-hmm.
And they do what they do best, and they're not in a hurry to do it. They really don't like putting up a ton of points. At least they don't act like it. So they don't really have extra motivation to do it. So I think that I think Georgia Tech can stay in this number. It's a rivalry game. I'm probably going to say this about almost every game, the other two games we talk about, that they'll keep it in the number. But, logic would tell you that Georgia's going to blow them out, but it's a rivalry game. We see it every year in college football. The underdog always plays up in these games. I think Tech can – it may just be by the hook, but I think it'll be – I think we're going to look up at the start of the fourth quarter like, oh, my gosh, you're only down 7.
This game has a lot of feelings of 2 years ago in Atlanta, where Tech had some chances to really cut it down to a one-possession game and even go tie the game, and it was between a 7 to 10 point game for a large portion, and then Georgia, won about midway through the fourth quarter, 6-7 minutes left. I do agree with you. I mean, should I read off what we were texted about Georgia Tech and Brent Key? I probably shouldn't. I think they'll be ready to go. That's all I'll say. I think they'll be ready to go. All right. Here from our friends over at Cajun Cuts, we got 2 more games on the docket, and then we got to talk about Lane Kiffin. Long show. It's the best show. Last preview show for a regular season, and we appreciate you watching. What's up, everybody? My name is Bryce Koon, and I cover college football here on the Crowded Booth, and also over with On 3, covering all things LSU. I'm here to tell you about a presenting sponsor this year for us as we get ready to continue tailgate season. It's our friends over at Cajun Cousins Company, based in South Carolina, but serving the entire Southeast with a little bit of that Louisiana flavor. Now, listen, they've got great products. They've got some great merch, including this awesome hat for you LSU fans that I'm rocking right now. But today I want to tell you about something that's going to maybe spice up that tailgate or that event a little bit more. It's Cajun Cousins pepper sauce. Make sure you try it out. Whether it needs to go on the po' boy, whether it needs to go on the fish, or even in some of that jambalaya, make sure you let them know the Crowded Booth sent you and head over to CajunCousins.co.com and get what you need today. Whether it's a family event, whether it's a part of that tailgate here in football season, Cajun Cousins Company is the way to go. All right, back here on the show, we talk about a little of a great rivalry that came back last year. Texas and Texas A&M Friday night in Austin. This one's going to be a lot of fun. The Aggies, a 2.5-point favorite on the road against the Longhorns. Texas kind of limping into this one, right? I mean, you look at the Longhorns and what they're doing here. Disappointing season. I do think they are better now than they were earlier. Arch Manning is growing. He's developing. It's obvious that he wasn't the player that people tried to make him out to be in the beginning. Doesn't mean that he can't be a great player in the future. But this Texas A&M team, I've been saying all year, I think is different. And I think that they're just – I'll say this. I think this is one of the best teams in the country in terms of how they're constructed offensive line and defensive line-wise. I think they are nasty up front on both sides of the football. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you here, I think the Aggies go into Austin. They pull off the perfect season. They go 12-0 and get ready for the SEC title. I think Mike Elko is an unreal hire. He's going to be a top 10 coach in college football when I put my rankings out next year because I think that he elevated A&M to one of the elite programs right now in college football. They recruit well. They develop well. They have a great scheme. I don't know if we've talked about this enough, but you talk about Marcel Reed and really what he is. Colin Klein has done a phenomenal job with Marcel Reed and the development of what he's due. I know Will's obviously very high on Marcel Reed to this. They have elite receivers. They just have every weapon in the book, and it's hard to play man defense against this group. I watched it for a whole second half. It was not fun to watch against a guy who has a Jim Thorpe Award ready. Hopefully he's going to win here in a couple weeks. That being said, I think A&M's just a better coach team, and I think they're – which is maybe – is that crazy to say that Mike Elko right now is a better coach than Steve Sarkisian, or he has his team better prepared with what they're doing? Maybe this year, right? Texas had a really good team last year that maybe didn't deliver, but they're just good, and they're very, very balanced on both sides of football. And it comes down to the trenches. We've talked about it. Texas offensive line, They play decent against Georgia, but they're just not what they were a year ago, and they are who they are at this point. Cassius Howell is a menace to society, and I like the Aggies in this one. So I will let you go first on this one, Will. I got the Aggies. I got them covering this one on the road in Austin.
Yep. Keep it short and sweet. I'm with you. I like Texas A&M. Like them to cover. Don't have to go into Marcel Reed anymore. I've talked about him enough. The difference in this game is going to be grit and physicality, and frankly, Texas lacks that. That's been my one knock on Texas ever since Sarkisian got in there and got his program rolling. I think Texas is soft on both lines of scrimmage. I think that's what costs them in big games like this one when they're matched up against a team that is as talented as they are, but is tougher, which has been the case more times than not. They lose, and I think this will be the same here. I think Texas A&M is the hungrier team here. They want the perfect season. We've seen clips from Elko in that locker room, and he said it many times. The knock on Texas A&M the last decade has been they can't finish seasons. They can't get it done in November. They want to prove they can get it done. They want to go 12-0. They want to win the SEC. And your point about is Elko a better coach? He's a tougher coach. I don't know if that makes him a better coach. I don't know that a team could be more prepared than a Steve Sarkisian Texas team because the prep work they do, they know their stuff, but it's football. You still got to be physical, and I think Texas they lack that physicality that you need to win big games, and I think that's going to show up big time against A&M.
A&M makes winning plays. Texas hasn't done it enough. Ralph, what you got?
We talked about it at the beginning of the year, and I think everyone was high on Arch in Texas. And Bryce, I think you're correct. The Arch is definitely getting better. I think kind of all that weight was on his shoulders at the beginning of the year. It's kind of fallen off, and he looks like he's playing better. I think he is. And I think going into next year, it's gonna be huge for him to kind of have that 1 year under his wing. But this is all A&M, man. They have been the most dominant team this year coming out of the SEC. The perfect season, like you said, the 12-0. That's what they're looking for. Mike Elko, you made that comment, and I had to think about it for a minute. But this year alone, Elko is way better coach than I think Sarkisian. And there's nothing to knock what Sarkisian's done this year, but Elko, this team is unbelievable. This defense is really good. Cassius Howell has been one of the most impressive defensive ends this year. 2 elite receivers, good running backs, and quarterback that's in a Heisman candidate for a good reason. I'll go and say I got A&M winning this game. I think they do cover also. I think their offense is just be too much. And I think they'll cause problems with Arch. I think they will. I think this is the team that you're looking at last year. They had a little bad taste in the mouth in this game. They should have. I thought A&M was better than they were last year. I thought they, the way they ended their season when they got to South Carolina, and it kind of just lost all their stride going into the season. I made this comment about Alabama early in the year when they beat South Carolina barely. They needed that scary game where they kind of almost lose it, but won the last minutes of the game. A&M had that against South Carolina also. They go down halftime, getting blown out, end up winning the game, not allowing a touchdown in the second half. This team's prepared they've seen it all this year. They've seen games where they've been close. There's been games where they've been getting blown out, and they've been games where they've been up and had a team come back on them. So I think they've seen it this year and they've done it all. I think A&M is prepared for this game, and they win it.
Aggies and Horns, great rivalry that I'm glad that they brought back. That's one of the benefits, I guess, of having this team in the SEC. All right, last game on the docket. Here we go, baby. Iron Bowl. Crimson Tide, a 5.5-point favorite against the Auburn Tigers. But did you guys see, by the way, the AL.com Alabama writer went to Jordan-Hare Stadium, went to the Auburn Library, and did a whole feature article on, is Jordan-Hare really haunted? It's pretty funny. He talks about just some of the crazy stories of, I know, but he talks about just some of the crazy stories of how it's a tough place to play. Will's already.
I mean, if Alabama seceded from the Union, Nick Saban would become dictator because these people blindly follow everything he says. Because you go to one place and you play poorly consistently does not mean that place is haunted. That means you get out-executed, out-physicaled, and out-coached. Yes, Nick Saban, the times he's lost at Jordan-Hare Stadium, has been flat out coached. And the times he's nearly lost, flat out coached. Like Brian Harsin out coached him. I said it. Brian Harsin out coached Nick Saban, but Nick Saban had better players and they won that game in what, double overtime, whatever it was.
Yeah, it
Place is not
overtime.
haunted just because you don't have success there.
It's a tough place to play.
Be better.
I would say. Alabama's a 5.5-point favorite. We're going to be in Auburn, Alabama on Saturday. The vibes are going to be high. Fellas, I'll start off with this one. I have run about 25 simulations. When I say simulations, Ralph knows what I mean. I go through and I pick every single game. I've been doing it since week 3. And every single time I get to this game, I click on Auburn, and then I click on Alabama. Today, I didn't do that. Today, I clicked on Auburn. I'm going to put myself out on a limb here. DJ Durkin, we know from talking to people inside that building, they love playing for him. Is this his last game as the interim coach or even on this Auburn staff? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Don't listen to Baby City Barry. He doesn't know what he's talking about either. All I can sit here and tell you is they like playing for him. Inside that building, they love DJ Durkin. They understand that their backs are against the wall. If these seniors want to play one more game, they've got to win this game. If you want to change the narrative about what Auburn is, you go win this football game. If you want to put some serious pressure on that guy over in Tuscaloosa, go win this football game and have him miss the playoff for the second straight year. I'm taking Auburn to win this one. This is the game, Will, where I will use the rivalry game card. I will throw out these numbers because I don't think this is an accurate representation of the team post-Hugh Freeze. I texted you guys today. I don't know, and I mean this with all due respect, and you can say whatever you want when you say that. With all due respect, I don't know what in God's name Hugh Freeze was doing with this offense. I have no idea.
Will's been saying that
Now,
all
listen,
year.
they put up elite numbers against Mercer. Okay, that's whatever. That's fine. This offense has found creative ways to get the football to their playmakers and be able to utilize that. We said all offseason, we said all year, you've got the playmakers. Can you get it from point A to point B? They have started to do that. Now, Alabama's got a good defense. Ty Simpson has been shaky as of late, 5 straight games with turnovers. It's a recipe for an upset. Give me Auburn. Give me swag surfing. Give me one of the best places to play a home night game in college football in the world. I'm taking Auburn to win this one outright. Give me the Tigers to beat Alabama, knock Alabama out of the playoff, and let's strike up the Kalen DeBoer to Happy Valley rumors. I'll take it from there, wherever you want to go with it.
I mean, what more can you say? Auburn's winning this game. There's no doubt about it.
I got them fired up, baby.
The energy in Auburn, Alabama right now is at an all-time high. Boog levels are higher than they've been in 3 years. Everybody is behind DJ Durkin for at least one more week, and behind this football team for one more week. All Auburn people know that this Auburn team is more than good enough to go beat Alabama. I haven't spoken to any Auburn fans that have watched Alabama, and Auburn fans watch almost every Alabama game. Nobody is scared of this Alabama team. Nobody's scared. Similar reasons why nobody's scared about Texas, and I have the same concerns about Alabama. They're soft on the lines of scrimmage. Their defense is pretty good, but man, go look at the numbers. You'll be shocked. Alabama cannot run the ball. They are poor at running the football. This Auburn run defense is one of the best in the country. 6th in the country at yards allowed before contact, just over a yard. Missed tackle rates only 2nd in the country, only 3%. Big reason why is that guy right there in the middle of that graphic, Xavier Atkins. He's going to win the Butkus Award unless, because he's wearing an Auburn helmet. That's going to be the reason why he doesn't, but he should. He's the best linebacker in the country. And the Auburn pass rush has been great. Keldrick Fogg, he got a little banged up against Mercer, but seems to be full go for this game. There was no way he was going to miss this game. Auburn 24th in the country in pressure rate, so they do get to the quarterback. Ty Simpson, he's mobile, but you're not worried about his rushing ability. And, it's hard to look at the Auburn offensive stats because, like you said, Hugh Freeze should not get a dime of his buyout for what he did. And Auburn continues to show that week after week that this offense is more than good enough. We said it all preseason. If Derek Nix was calling the plays for Auburn, I think we're talking about this being a play-in game for the playoff. We'd be talking about 2 teams on the bubble. The winner probably makes the playoff. And Auburn would probably be favored. being the home team. And Auburn's record at home in Iron Bowls is incredible, dating back to 1989, the first ever Iron Bowl.
Is it 10-7? Are they 10-7 at home? I thought I saw that graph. I might be totally wrong.
Right. That sounds right.
But it's a winning record. They're plus 500 in that category.
Sounds right. If you need a reason to get fired up for this game, let me know. I will send you a catalog of YouTube videos. I have been watching them already.
Catalog.
And
they're in a library.
Tears well up every single time because Auburn football is special. It means something. Auburn people love Auburn. Auburn people are going to show out for 2 hours before kickoff when the gates open after Tiger Walk and all the way until they'll party all the way until the game ends. They'll probably end with the fans on the field. It's going to be a great weekend in Auburn. It's going to be a great into the season for Auburn. Going to be the greatest 6-6 game Auburn's ever played. Probably the best 6-6 team Auburn's ever had.
That's for sure.
For talent composite rating, you're actually not wrong. Like this, honest to God,
darn sure.
Auburn's going to find a way to win this game. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
All right, Ralph.
Do I got to talk about Alabama because I'm the only one who both of y'all talk about Auburn?
Go ahead.
Well, I think Alabama obviously Ty Simpson has been great this year for them. This is a different Alabama team because they're not a very good running team. Yeah. Jan Miller has not been their guy this year. Daniel Hill's kind of exploded back into their who they really want as a running back, but they don't give him the ball that much. It just feel like they don't want him to run the ball. It's very strange to me. They have a freak of an athlete at left tackle, but lately this offensive line and pass blocking has been atrocious. Ty Simpson was running for his life against Oklahoma. They got after him. That is one of the best pass rush teams in the country. I've been saying that with Oklahoma. But Auburn's defense, man, is crazy good. Will mentioned a minute ago, that man at the bottom of the graphic right there. That dude right there is a bad man. He's involved. If you just go back and watch the Vanderbilt game, the Arkansas game, or any of the games in the past few weeks, 17 is involved in every tackle in some sort of way. He loves to hit. That guy gets after. He's fired up every game. That's a bad man. But look, Alabama's got some great athletes. They got a great tight end, Josh Cuevas. I think he's been terrific for them this year and helping Ty Simpson stay alive. I think Jeremy Bernard has been really good for them. Obviously, with Ryan Williams kind of been iffy this year. He hadn't been terrific. They're big. That was their big guy last year for him. First 6 games was terrific. Last 6 games was really not that impressive. This year it's been kind of just all over the place. Some would say a head case in some sorts. I am going with Auburn at home. I don't think you can say there is a better place to play on a Saturday night. You're talking. This is the first time
there is, but okay.
Oh, I'm talking about in this situation. A night game for the Iron Bowl. We had
in that specific situation.
Generally, in this situation, a team that could put away a playoff or a team that's looking to get into playoffs, looking to get into the SEC championship game, has to go into Jordan-Hare at night at the end of the season for a team that, we win and go to a bowl game, we win, the season's over. They're just looking to play football, and that's what I think what Durkin's going to preach. Go out there, play football, go play 4 quarters of football, and beat these guys. There's no rhyme or reason. If you're we'll say it perfectly. If you're wanting a way to get fired up, you're not watching football well enough because you shouldn't need anything to be fired up from this game because it's just pure hatred between these teams. Yeah. I grew up watching this rivalry for every year. Obviously, I was an Auburn fan growing up. I've been to a lot of the Iron Bowls. I was at the Kick Six. There's nothing better than Jordan-Hare on a Saturday night late in the season.
About 1:00 on Sunday, you'll be an Auburn fan again.
If they hire that staff that's one posted in there, I'm full blood back in Auburn gear. I will go buy all this Auburn Nike gear I can find that fits me.
Bryce, Alabama. Do we have mock-ups made of the hoodies yet?
Not yet.
Because I need one.
We'll get it done. We'll get Mr. Graphics, Mr. Gavin on that immediately. I don't think Ralph knows about that hoodie yet or that sweatshirt. Ralph will wear one. No, we'll even send Dr. Bob one. Please don't hire that staff, he says. All right. Well, we thought that was the end of the show, but it is indeed not, because we got to talk a little bit. Because we got to talk about this game to an extent. But what the issue with this is that it's the noon game on Friday, and we're just not talking about the game. And this is one of the this is to me one of the most overlooked rivalries in college football. These two teams hate each other.
They're playing at 12?
Yeah, they play at 12.
Why?
These two teams hate each other. Absolutely hate each other.
At 7:30 on Thanksgiving night every year.
Well, you can thank the NFL for that. I hate the NFL. As Will wears the Falcons hoodie. But sign the checks. You got to do what you got to do. Right. I understand. I understand. Sometimes I've got to parade around for LSU when needed be. The Egg Bowl is one of the most underrated rivalries in college football. This is the ultimate, in my opinion, one of the ultimate throw out the records in the stats games. I don't care. We've seen a 4-7 Ole Miss team emerge victorious. We've seen a 3-8 Mississippi State team give Ole Miss team a run for their money. There have been some bloodbaths in this rivalry, but I think I'm excited to watch this. Now, here's the thing, because we're not talking about the game, and that's sad. I wanted to say this real quick. I love what Jeff Lebby has done. I think Mississippi State, if there was an award for this, probably one of the most improved teams in the country year over year. I think they've done a great job. But what is Lane Kiffin going to do? Now, I'll just tell you this. The expectation is that Lane Kiffin is going to make a decision after this game, whether that's Friday afternoon, whether that's Saturday, whether that's Sunday, God knows when it'll be. I'm telling you right now, there's no one more ready for this thing to be over than me right now. I will just tell you that. I'm very ready for Lane Kiffin to make a decision. So what is Lane Kiffin going to do? I don't think we've had all three of us here to be able to talk about this yet. But as we currently sit, Keith Carter from the side chair in the hotel room issued a statement and decided to essentially put it out there. And I believe from all the evidence, everything that we know, not conjecture, what we believe, is that Lane Kiffin is not going to be at Ole Miss next year. It would just surprise me. And talking to people up there in Oxford who are inside that building, working inside that building, it would just be incredibly weird and awkward to make the return. And that's the thing with this, that you have gone so far into this where all you had to say, I'm staying. And the fact that you don't know that leads me to believe that he's leaving. Now, does that mean he's coming to LSU? I don't know. Does that mean he's going to Florida? I have no idea. I couldn't say this on the On 3 show the other night. I also don't know what is true about the Florida side of things due to some rogue board members on the Bengal Tiger that might have or might have not posed as Ole Miss staff members and done some heinous things. But
the Ponderosa is wild.
It's a wild time. 3 million views in one thread. What is Lane Kiffin doing here? I think we are going – this is my projection. This is my prediction. I believe that with Lane Kiffin, we are going to have a statement come out Friday or Saturday, maybe Sunday. The first initial statement is that he is not going to be returning to Ole Miss. That is my prediction. And it's going to give him more time. It's also going to give Jimmy Sexton more time to leverage the two schools. Because right now he's leveraging 3. They're going to knock it down to 2, continue the leveraging, and Jimmy Sexton's doing a great job. Like, in terms of his job, he's doing a great job of this. That's going to be the first statement. Then the second statement is going to be, where is he going? That is my prediction based off the things that I have talked to, based off what we know. That is what I believe to happen. And I will reiterate my pick. I guess it's an RPM now that I've got to put in. I said this last week. I still believe that I will be sitting at a press conference introducing Lane Kiffin as the next head coach at LSU. That is my belief to this point. Now, obviously, what is Lane Kiffin doing? I don't even think he knows what he's doing right now. I genuinely don't think he does. I do think he's on his way out of town. It's a shame that the Egg Bowl doesn't mean a lot, but you cannot let him coach beyond this game if you're Ole Miss. You cannot be held hostage. We talked a lot about this the other day, so we don't have to rehash it. Ole Miss is playing a big game here. They're going big game hunting, in my opinion, because they're saying, hey, you are I didn't know this. He is 2 wins away from being the winningest head coach in Ole Miss football history.
What have I been
passing
saying?
Johnny Vaught.
He's
You're
the
right.
best coach in Ole Miss history.
Yeah.
He's
hands
2
down.
wins away. Like, that's insane to think about.
Who would he pass? Like,
Johnny Vaught.
Okay.
Yeah, in the 60s. Like, that's what's crazy about this. So what does he do? I don't think he knows what he's doing. My projection and my prediction is that we're going to get a statement here after the Egg Bowl that says he's not coming back. That allows Ole Miss to pivot to who they're going to pivot to, and then obviously build their staff, and it allows for Joe Judge to get his team ready for a playoff game. That is what I believe that will happen. It's a shame the Egg Bowl is being overshadowed by this. It's a shame to those players who have to deal with this. I will say this too. Trinidad Chambliss, these other players putting out statements. If you have to put a statement out like that, I wonder when Lane Kiffin handed the phone back to Trinidad Chambliss. That's what I'd like to know, because that was not. I don't buy that. I do not buy that. So that's my take on it. Obviously, you guys know that I'm day-to-day covering this thing, so it's a bit different. But I guess wherever y'all want to go from this one, that's what I believe is happening. If you have different opinions, if you just want to say I move on and get done with the show, we can do that as well.
Lane Kiffin, I think, is the greatest 4D chess player in the history of the universe.
Oh.
Right? All of this LSU, all of this Florida talk, the sending his family to go check out the towns, check out high schools for Knox, all smoke and mirrors. Right? The groundwork, the framework was laid 3 years ago. And he even signed a memo of understanding with another school formerly in the SEC West, and that's where he is going to end up. That is going to be Auburn University. It is going to happen. He is the mystery candidate. John Cohen has pulled off an excellent coaching search. No one has said this. It's way too quiet. There's way too many connections to Lane Kiffin at Auburn. Lane Kiffin will get more and better roster intel and perspective from Auburn than he can from LSU and Florida, because his former coordinators are on staff at Auburn in the same role as coordinators. So no, that obviously I don't believe any of that I just said. That is pie in the sky. A man can dream. That's not going to happen. In fact, I think it's so quiet from Auburn because John Cohen, Auburn's athletic director, did not want to go down that road one step. I don't even think he made a call to Jimmy Sexton about Lane Kiffin after what happened 3 years ago. Bryce, I agree with you. I think he will end up coaching the LSU Bayou Bengals, and he will go on to win multiple national championships, because I think he is a top 3 coach in the country. And you go to a place like LSU, you don't even have to leave your own state, and you can put together a national championship roster. That's how good the recruiting base is at LSU. I think it is a dream setup for both parties, for Kiffin at LSU, and I think Kiffin, honestly, to put it bluntly, if he wants to win a national championship, I think he'd be a fool to do anything other than take the LSU job.
Clip it. Ralph?
Bryce Koon will be buying a house next year in Baton Rouge.
Buddy, I'll just buy one. Just blindly.
He will be
Brian Kelly's old house.
Says have a good view of the LSU lakes.
I think come Monday, whenever, the announcement is made, he will be in LSU next year. I think, like what Will said, all the smoke and mirrors, that's, with Knox wearing the LSU headphones. He was on a visit there, by the way. He probably got those headphones when he was down there, but wearing them and posting them, just troll number one. That's just their
he knows
family,
what he's doing.
They're doing a great job at it. I mean, you can't sit here and say it's not a great job. It's now when he chooses somebody else in the end, it's going to be hilarious. It's going to be painful for some people, but looking out on, it's just it's funny. This has been some of the most. There you go.
Picture of the year taken by yours truly.
Thank you. I'm glad you just had that ready to go. All this talk, especially with what's going on right now in Tuscaloosa and some of the rumors coming out of there, there could be another team involved in this coaching for Kiffin. It's been the most painful thing the just like hear about, because I would go on the Ponderosa occasionally and just kind of scroll and find stuff. There was a guy sitting at the airport waiting every day to see what flights flew in there. That's dedication beyond metric there.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone so far that Flight Tracker has never been used so much in its entire life until this week, in the last 3 weeks. I'm so ready for this to be over with, so we can just finally call it over and then start with looking at other coaches who are going to get hired. The G5 roles they're going to be filled in the next few weeks. Like, I'm so tired of the P4 coaching hire. It's the worst carousel. It's the slowest carousel, and it's the most anticipated carousel. He's
the domino that's got to drop.
Yes, because when this drops, it's just all going to start falling itself. It's just going to be crazy. And once it's over with, Will can sleep at night because he'll have a coach also.
I can think of at least 2 coaching searches where flight tracking was probably used more than this one.
I mean, yeah.
The infamous Jetgate 2003. Auburn hiring Bobby Petrino and then backing out because they got busted on flight logs, and probably the coaching search when Alabama landed Nick Saban.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Great answer, by the way.
Flight tracking is pretty much out these days. I mean, I think this was the first coaching search that it's been used in quite a while.
Can I say the one that's
public? Yeah,
the one that some are all posting the picture of them flying to Philadelphia against Temple.
Oh, that's the same plane. That's that.
Oh, I know it's the same plane. And the plane with the camo back end, and it's in all.
He signed a contract, the same plane
that morning, and then goes and coaches
on that MOA.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
What a time! What a time! What about the plane that he took to Hammond, Louisiana to meet Florida? We're going to talk about that, or no? We don't have to.
That's interesting.
He had to fly to Hammond.
Yeah, apparently. Well, he could. He had the opportunity to fly to Hammond.
Yeah, I don't know LSU geography. I think you're either flying or you're taking an airboat. So
it's true. I mean, that's how I get to the stadium.
You could take an airboat there.
You really could. That's actually you're not wrong. No. Hey, we appreciate you tuning in. Almost a 90-minute show, but we wanted to get it all in. Obviously, Dr. Bob said something about Michigan, Ohio State. Joel Klatt said something about that's. Auburn, Alabama doesn't even hold water to that. Look, it's a good game. I'll say this: Ohio State should splatter them. They should. I think that the football gods will let them have this when we can stop talking about Bryce Underwood. So that's all I got there. It's rivalry week. Enjoy it. Embrace it. It's the final week of the regular season. It's the final time we get to see all the FBS teams in action. And then obviously we move on to bowl season. But if you want to come hang out with us, little tailgate this weekend in the blue lot outside Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Georgia Tech. Will and I will be there posted up. If you don't show up, Will and I have already made the decision. We will sit there and I don't know. We'll rip some cards and watch the Egg Bowl, and I don't know. We'll just eat Publix chicken fingers. I mean, there'll be food. That'll be a good time. We'll hang out. Iron Bowl on Saturday, and then next week we'll see. Dr. Bob's asking, are we going to be in New Orleans? We've got to kind of see what happens. If SMU wins out and heads to Charlotte, we might go back to Charlotte. If not, I might make the drive and head down for Tulane, North Texas, which would be a lot of fun. So we'll obviously keep in touch. Make sure you have a fantastic Thanksgiving, great holiday season. Enjoy family time. Enjoy the food, as long as it's not cranberry sauce. And we will see you on the other side. We'll have a Georgia Tech preview, but that'll be the last live show of the weekend. We'll not have a clean old-fashioned hate recap from Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Friday. And then, next Sunday night, diving into conference championship week, reacting. What is the playoff going to look like? And it's weird we're getting to the end of talking about games that we all know. It's not the end of the college football content calendar, because then the portal is going to open. You have early signing day. You got the portal opening in January. Lots of great stuff. So make sure you make sure you subscribe. Continue to grow those numbers. We appreciate you. And we will catch you next time here on the Crowder Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth. climbing on the crowded booth.